Hello, this video is going to focus on the standard algorithm for long division. First, I want to focus on a few vocabulary words we will be using today. Division is an operation that finds how many things are divided equally into groups. That is the division symbol. In this problem, 20 divided by 5 equals 4. The number 5 is known as our divisor. This is the number that does the dividing. In this problem here, 20 divided by 5 equals 4, we also have a dividend, which is known as the number 20 for this problem. The dividend is the number that will be divided. We have our quotient as well, which here is the number 4. The answer to a division equation is known as our quotient. Now, as a reminder, in this problem here, 35 divided by 7 equals 5. 35 is my dividend. Here is my division symbol. 7 is labeled as my divisor. We have our equal sign, and 5 is known as our quotient or answer to the division problem. Here are some key words for division: evenly, cut, split, each, every, average, equal parts, out of, a ratio, quotient. Those are key words that you might want to help to identify when solving problems, especially when given word problems, to help you identify, am I dividing? Now, division is breaking things into pieces, cutting it into equal groups. These are all key words that you want to understand represent division. Now, here in this problem here, we have 482 divided by 2. Notice 482 is my dividend, 2 is my divisor. Now, in this problem, I'm going to take it digit by digit. Now, I have graph paper here because I find that it's very helpful to help stay organized when solving these problems. First, I want to take a look at my divisor. 2 times what number gets me closer exactly to 4? 2 times 2 is exactly 4. So I'm going to subtract 4 minus 4, which is 0. Notice I still have 2 more digits here. Now I'm going to bring down the 8. 2 times some number gets me close to or exactly to 8. 2 times 4 is 8. Now I'm going to subtract, and I'm left with 0. I'm going to bring down the 2 because I still have another digit there. 2 times what number gets me closer exactly to 2? 2 times 1 is 2. I'm going to subtract, and I'm left with 0, which is telling me I have nothing left over. So the quotient is 241, which is the answer to this problem. Now, what's really awesome about division is you can always check your work to see if you are correct. If you take your quotient and you multiply it by your divisor, it should always give you your dividend if you did your long division correctly. So let's confirm that what we did was correct. I'm going to take 241 and I'm going to multiply it by 2. So 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 2 is 4. And in fact, we get 482, which is my dividend, so I know I did this problem correct. In this problem here, we're going to follow the same steps. I did not use grid paper for this problem. You can choose to use grid paper or not. It is totally up to you. I'm going to take it digit by digit. I notice 9 times 0 gets me closer exactly to 5 because 9 times 1 is 9, which is way too big. So that's okay if you use 0. I'm going to subtract, and I get 5. Now I'm going to bring down my 4. And notice I don't just have 4, I have 54. So 9 times 6 happens to be exactly 54, which is great. I'm going to subtract. I'm left with 0. Now I have 8. Now 9 times something gets me close to or exactly to 8. I can't go over 8, but I can try to get as close to as 8 as possible. But I notice 9 times 0 is 0. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 is way too big, so I'm going to choose 9 times 0. 9 times 0 is 0. Subtract, and I have 8. And I notice I'm finished because there's no more digits left in my dividend. So 8 is known as my remainder, or we can say R. 8. So my quotient here is 60 remainder 8. Now I need to check to see if this is correct. I'm going to take my quotient, which is 60, and I'm going to multiply it by 9. So when I do that, I get 540. But I did have a remainder. So because I had that remainder, I still need to include that because that's still part of my answer. So 540, but now I'm going to add 8, add my remainder to this, giving me 548. And in fact, 548 is my dividend here, so I know I did this problem correctly. And this is telling me that out of 548 pieces, let's say I had 548 cookies, and we want to break them into groups of 9. I know I can make 60 groups of 9, but unfortunately there's 8 cookies that are left out and cannot fit in a full group. But I still need to include that in my original amount, which was my dividend. So now notice here, once I checked my work, it proved that I did this problem correctly. Now in this problem here, you have to determine, is it correct or not correct? What I'm going to do here is look to see what I have. 342 divided by 4 equals 85 remainder 2. So this can also be written out just like this. 342 divided by 4 equals 85 remainder 2. Now you could choose to do the long division and see if you get the same answer, but I'm also going to use multiplication here to check to see if this is correct or not correct. I'm going to take my quotient and I'm going to multiply it by my divisor. So I have 85 times 4. And when I do my multiplication, we're going to see if this gets to my dividend. So 4 times 8 is 32, plus 2 is 340. Now, just like the previous problem, I have a remainder here. So I still need to include that when I'm checking my work. So I have 340, and now I'm going to add my remainder of 2, giving me 342, which in fact, that was my dividend here. So my answer here, this problem is correct. Notice using multiplication is extremely helpful to decide if your problem is correct or incorrect. We're going to do one more just like that to determine if this problem is correct or incorrect. Just like the previous problem, I'm going to take my quotient and multiply it by my divisor. 31 times 9, and we have 9 times 1 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27, giving us 279. But notice here we also have my remainder. 279 plus 8, and we get 287, which in fact, this is the exact dividend that we were given. So this problem is correct. Now it's always important to check our work. With division, it's really amazing that division and multiplication are related. You can use multiplication to check to see if your quotient is correct. I highly recommend you do that during today's activities. As always, you can refer back to this video at any time as you are completing your work. I recommend getting scrap paper ready and a nice pencil so you can do these problems on scrap paper, and then you can check your work as well to see if what you did is correct as you practice division using the standard algorithm.